What's up, everybody? Today I am here at Humanmade in San Francisco, ready to show you a cool project that I've been cooking up. Speaking of cooking, something smells good in here, and that's the smell of a beautiful piece of cardboard that has been lasered and almost cut through all the way. I'll be going over how I'm getting the correct settings to cut this piece of cardboard and what this project is all about. Humanmade is at the heart of design, innovation, creation, and making all your dreams into maybe a little bit of a headache. But that's a good kind of headache because we make things real around here. So whether you're a business or a hobbyist or something in between, there's something here for everyone. At the end of this, we'll show you something that looks like this. The idea behind this project was to initially get the settings correct on this sphere project. So I'm testing out all the different ways the cardboard can come out. Eventually found good settings and I was able to make a dress form. Now I was looking on the market, seeing how much dress forms cost, and I really hadn't used the laser in a while, so I found this software called Fusion Slicer, and I 3D scanned myself using Scaniverse, an iPhone app, and then I just went to Fusion 360, kind of tidied up the file, and then I was able to export it as a DXF and cut it down. Alrighty, so here is the scan as I imported it into Fusion. We can see how I was able to clean this up into just my torso. It was pretty simple. It was mostly plane cuts. So it's a mesh plane cut to just get rid of all the excess geometry. So I just scroll this back. So we got the scan. Then I move it a little bit to orient it along with the axes. Then I start slicing till I end up with just my torso. To end up moving this and converting it to a body. Once it's a body, I make some, I want to remove the arms, the upper arm, and then scale it up because I realized that my import was not at the correct scale. And then that's what I ended up with. Alright, so this is Slicer for Fusion 360. Here I have an example of the model inside of the slicer. What we could do is import your file here, and you would just select it. This would be the same process for the sphere as well. You will then customize a material. So for this particular project, I was using 29 by 16 inch material, and the thickness, I cheated it from the original 0.26 inches to 0.24 inches. As you saw, the sphere fell apart, so then I wanted it to be more of a friction fit, so I just decreased it by 20 thousandths. All this other material, all these other settings, I left alone. You can see right now we're getting a preview, but it is important to make sure that your object is scaled correctly. So make sure that how it's appearing on top of your material makes sense. The strategy I'm using is interlocked slices, and when you do that, you could actually start changing the number of slices, but more slices usually means more material. You can actually change the slice direction, so let's see this. So if for whatever reason you prefer diagonal cuts, you can see you could get really interesting patterns like that. Let's see if I could undo it. There you go. Then you could modify the form. So if you have a slice that isn't lining up exactly where you want, or say you're making an organizer or a divider, You could move things up and down, and it doesn't actually like move the slice up and down. It actually just gives you a different cross section. So you could actually see it on the right, updating in real time. Okay. Then there's assembly steps. So say you want to assemble this, you could drag a timeline over, and it pretty much tells you how to assemble it. Usually with the labels that are created in the plan. It's pretty self-explanatory on how to do it. But all you have to do once you are satisfied with what you're going to get is export to DXF and hit print. To open up my file. Now this is the file that we saw a little bit earlier, and it happens to be here. So I'm going to open it up in Photoshop, and I'm going to select my whole project. I'm going to make sure that the stroke size, so way up here, there's a setting for stroke weight. I'm making sure it's 0.001 points. Now, as part of the Fundamental Safety Operation course, or FSO, that you need to complete before operating a laser, it does go in and mentions that kind of thing. So you get this little booklet. It's like a thing for the laser. It might be a 2-hour course. On other equipment, it might be 4 hours. But for here, it's just about maybe 2 to 4 hours, depending on how fast the class goes. So I'm going to set this to 0.001 stroke weight, because we are basically just tracing out everything, and I want the laser to just poke through the cardboard and cut it out. So it's a vector, right? If we ended up using images, then we wouldn't have to change the stroke weight. There wouldn't be any line strokes to change. So now that we have this file, you can see that we have 2 different colors, and that will become important. So I'm going to go in here and hit print, and then that will bring up this menu. And you can see that our file has come in. And again, as part of your training, you will go in and kind of play with these settings here. On my next test, I'm going to do something a little bit different, just to see how it turns out. We also have a little cheat sheet that you can come in and look at your different materials. We have wood, acrylic, anodized aluminum, glass, leather. I don't think cardboard is here, but I went and looked for something that kind of resembles cardboard, which was wood. And I took those settings for frequency, because wood is the same kind of material. I kept the 10 for the frequency. And then for the speed and power, I knew that I could run through the material a lot faster, so I increased the speed. Of course, this will smell for quite some time after you cut it. Whether it's acrylic or cardboard, there's like a lot of smell happening. So I wouldn't recommend doing what I do and leaving your little project next to your bed, so you could stare at it until you drift off into sleep. Alright, so I've been at this and I've been iterating and iterating and iterating, and I haven't been getting this right. But look, I got 2 cycles, I got the power all the way to 100 and the speed down to 80. I'm doing 2 passes. Hopefully this gets going, because it hasn't been going yet. Alrighty, so I'm here at the machine, and before I start like messing with it or setting it up, I like to delete my files. So I'm going to delete them, just so then if somebody hits play, there's nothing to actually run. Anyways, there's a failsafe, so we have the door open, so even if there was a file there, it wouldn't run by itself. I've messed up the bed of the machine, so you can move the bed up and down. So what I need to do now is I'm going to go over to my jog controller. There's a little joystick with a laser here, and then I'm going to move it, and there's a little red dot coming out of the laser. Now, this one is safe to touch. This is not the actual laser that's going to be doing our cutting. This is just for the setup work that we're doing here. So there's a little arm right here. I'm going to drop it down. And then I'm going to bring the table up right until we touch it. A little finger, a little wiggle. About to touch it. So what I'm doing here is just moving the jog up and down. Until we are touched off. Alright, so I feel a little bit of friction. Stop right there. And then I can exit to the main menu by touching the sandwich or the hamburger. We have calibrated the height of the machine. Now I'm going to import the file over, and we're going to see how well it lines up. So I'll move us overhead. You can see here that our file isn't exactly where we want it to be, but we could use our preview and just drag it over to where we want the laser to be cutting, and that should work for us. Then we hit print, and that will populate our menu over here. And that's going to give us an interesting way of giving us an outline. So I'm going to press this little button down the bottom right, and it's going to outline for us that cut. So it's going to race around and show us the boundary of the laser or that file. So it's running around. Now we'll keep doing this until you stop it. So I'm just going to stop it here. I am now going to see? So you got the little pointer. It's usually enabled. So I'm disable the pointer. You press this little return button. It'll return back to the home position in the back left. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run it. What I need to do before that is get the fans on. I don't have them on right now because I don't want it being loud while I'm recording, but I'm going to turn on the fans on so we have ventilation out of the building. Now, this isn't supposed to be like a substitute for the training, but we do have project specialists that are happy to help you if you have any questions with how to use any of the machinery. So here you can basically select your files, and right now I don't want to print anything, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Ooh, I want to touch it. I want to touch it. And when I say that, I always remind myself that things can be hot. So with a laser, things are usually not that hot. But here is an example of how I could test if I cut all the way through. And you can see that despite my best efforts, it's not cutting through, guys. Unfortunate. So I think there might be another change in the process in the works. So 2 passes isn't cutting it. Literally and as a matter of speech. So we have to do something else. I guess we're doing circles now. Both literally and as a matter of speech. And as a meme. Alright. It's always great when, oh, you're just about finished and you're told that you're done. Oh, that's good. Oh, this is successful. This is amazing. Oh, I'm so excited to assemble this. Oh, and I came here an extra hour early before my reservation to prepare the files. And it's always fun, the people that you get to meet here and talk about the projects that they're doing. It's save time for your project ahead of time and for the people you're gonna meet here. It's always amazing. All right, all of this just falls apart. And I get to throw it away. What's up, everybody?